Hello everybody and welcome back to Let's Play Skyrim on Master Difficulty. Although the game is technically over, this is just going to be me showing off the game's credits. Now, Skyrim is weird in that you don't actually see the credits in-game at all. When you beat the game, trust me, I beat the game in the last episode, that's it. There's no credit screen, you actually have to look at the credits in the main menu, but a lot of people put a lot of effort into making this game, and I want them to be credited for their work. That's why I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show the credits anyway. And it'll also give me a chance to talk about the, game a bit. My feelings on it and whatnot. Your music playing in the background is called Sovengarde Song by the musician Miracle of Sound. I'll leave a link to his channel in the video description. I do have his permission to play this. By the way, thank you for that, Miracle of Sound. I really like your music. Anyway, let's move on. So, I'm going to try and give the game a rating based on each factor of the game. First, I guess we'll say graphics. Relative to the time it came out and the size of the game, I have to give it a 9 out of 10 for the graphics of the game. I have seen more beautiful games that came out around the same time, but very few. I cannot give it a full 10 out of 10 because of all the graphical glitches that we encountered. That kinda doesn't help it score much, in my opinion. Secondly would be the voice acting. The voice acting in a Bethesda game has never been great. It has gone up since Oblivion and Morrowind, in my opinion, but it's never been great. So for that, well, I'd have to give it like a 5, because the voice acting just isn't that good. The music was good. I thought they had good, music and such, just not good voices. But I'll say a 5. 5 is fair, I think. For gameplay, I really like the things they've done in this game that were not in Morrowind. I thought they had some great improvements to it. Such as, the ability to dual wield with a fun improvement. The ability to cast a spell, keep it in one hand while swinging a sword. I like that as well. I like the fact that they got rid of the Mysticism School of Magic entirely and just kind of stuffed its important spells in other places. I thought we had one too many magic schools already, and I'm glad we reduced it. Of course, they swapped Enchanting in instead, so now we have an extra magic school, but I don't count that. Enchanting's not really magic so much as just crafting. I did like the crafting system. It allows you to become very powerful if you want to put forth the use. I'm not a fan of crafting, but I'm really glad that we actually had that option. I think that was very, very good on them for giving people that option. I like the improvement to the thievery. Pickpocketing has its own skill set now. I think that's really nice. I like the perk system. Overall, I do enjoy it. As far as gameplay goes, when I'm not being scarred by the bugs and the glitches, I think the gameplay is great. I would easily give it a 10 out of 10. I think this game has some of the best gameplay I've ever played in an open-world RPG. And I've played quite a few of them. I love that part of the song. I had to stop and listen to it for a moment. Let's continue. Now, as far as the storyline goes, I'll be honest. The story of Skyrim is kinda bad. Let me point out, the main quest of Skyrim. The story, strictly the main quest. If we take away the lore, take away the guilds, take away the atmosphere, the main story comes down to Chosen Knight slayed the evil dragon. That's not that original, which nothing really is anymore, I know that, but even by today's standards of everything being done already, it's still not that original. I'm just not impressed by it. In the fight with Alduin, the finale was anticlimactic. After all the struggle I went through, all the heckling about how horrible he is, me and 3 other guys walked outside and killed him in 10 minutes, and I barely broke a sweat. I did it in one try. Nakrin, the fight before him, should have been the last boss. That guy took me 20 tries, because on 20 different occasions I made a slight, tiny error, and he just blew me apart with one fireball, or one well-placed lightning rune, followed up by me stepping on some trap on the ground, or something like that. Or I tried to use Call Storm and summon the dragons on the pillars. I mean, that guy was hard. I think he should have been the last boss, honestly. They could have killed Alduin in a cutscene, made Nakrin the last boss, and it would have come out better, in my opinion. Beyond that, let's talk about the lore. I want to do the lore as opposed to the story completely separate because I think that they shouldn't be lumped together. The lore of the game, I easily give a 10 out of 10. If you're into that kind of thing, if you're somebody who loves to learn a lot about a universe, you want to know everything about it, Skyrim is the game for you. Skyrim's lore, well, just all the Elder Scrolls games, across Morrowind, Oblivion, Skyrim, if you want to get really hardcore and go back to a DOS game, you can check out Arena or Daggerfell, the really early games they made. They have a few other side games that I'm not a fan of, but they do exist, you can play them. But the lore is everywhere. I mean, every race has a deep, in-depth history, there's major battles that were fought before the games took place you can read about. There are books everywhere that tell you little stories about the world. And some of them are skill books, sometimes you even get levels up from them, and that's nice, right? So I think, as far as lore goes, the amount of work put into it, and the fact that there's very few contradictions, there are some contradictions in the lore, but there's not that many. Given the scope, easily give it a 10 out of 10. I would give it a 15 out of 10 if I could go that high without screwing up the whole system. Some of the best lore I've ever seen. Period. See, is there anything else? I think that's everything. Story, sound, music, lore, gameplay, difficulty. I'll do difficulty. On Master Difficulty, what I played on for the main quest, it depends on how you want to rate it. If you want to rate difficulty as in how many times I died, then I give it a 10 out of 10 as well, because it was extremely difficult. If you want to rate difficulty on how it was implemented, I give it a 1 out of 10. I absolutely hate difficulty settings in a game when all it does is adjust modifiers on your damage and enemy HP. That's not creative, that's not clever, all it does is make a fight take longer. It doesn't make it any harder. All it means is that I have to spend more time dancing around my enemy without making a mistake before I die. It doesn't add more enemies, they don't detect you better if you're sneaking, they don't have new resistances, they just have a lot more HP, and they hit you for 3 times as much damage. I don't think that's a good way of doing it. I would much rather we do difficulty by being more clever. Add more enemies to the dungeon. Give the enemies better armor, but, you know, as a reward for the difficulty, I get to take that better armor after I kill them, so there's a bonus to it. As it stands, there's no reason to play on higher difficulty unless you just really want to get your ass kicked more often. Or if you're, like, crafting so much that you're so overpowered from having weapons that are beyond imagining high damage, like, you know, 2 Daedric perfect longswords with 2 enchantments on them each. If you got that going for you, then yes, you could play on Master and still have an easy time. But, you know, that takes like 20-25 hours of grinding. I don't want to go through all that. That would be a huge pain in my ass for what only came to about 30 videos. I would have to do several days of work off screen to get everything perfect to be able to face all the game. I thought the way I did it was better. At least for trying to entertain all of you and trying to save me time. I hope I was right about that. If I'm not, well, it's not going to matter. We're going back to Adept. I've established why I don't like Master. I'm going to do the guilds, and I'm going to do them, I believe, well, but I'm not going to do them on Master because it's just too annoying. I'll probably go into more detail on exactly why each guild frustrates me on Master while I play them, although I already did give a snippet of that a couple videos back. Now, beyond that, I think I've covered everything. There will be a bonus episode that'll come out tomorrow where I'll show you some things that only happen in Skyrim after you beat the main quest. I think they're little fun, neat little rewards for beating the game. Well, beating the main quest. You never technically beat Skyrim. You can play it for eternity if you want to. But I think they're fun, and I'm going to show them to you. After that, I will take a couple days off, probably 2 or 3, and then we'll begin the Companions Guild, as that won the voting on what guild to do first. The guild that had the second most votes was the Bards Guild, so I will do that after the Companions, and then I'm probably going to reopen the voting to see how people would vote if the top 2 are taking off of the scale. So that's everything I have to say about Skyrim. Well, I'll make a final analysis here. Just overall, this game, I want to give it a 7 out of 10. The day I bought it, I gave it a 10 out of 10. I loved it, and I still do. I've played it 500 hours, and I do enjoy this game. I absolutely do not regret the purchase. However, it is a flawed masterpiece. It is flawed in many ways. It's got graphical glitches, it's got some errors in the lore that only appear in this game that were not there in previous games. I mean, come on. You can be a Khajiit and go to Sovengarde, and when you leave, they'll tell you, when you die, you'll come back here and I'll welcome you. Khajiit don't go to Sovengarde. They just don't. There's no Khajiit in Sovengarde. They have a completely different heaven. Same with every other race. Only Nords go to Sovengarde. It's strictly Nord heaven. So I thought that was a ball dropper right there. But yeah, beyond that, I think I've summed it up pretty well. This is a flawed masterpiece, but I still think it's worth the money, and you can definitely get your money's worth if you want to play it as much as I have, which, if you're into this kind of thing, I recommend it. Go out and buy it. It's even got DLC now. You could get the DLC and add even more playtime. With that in mind, though, I'm gonna shut up now. I'm gonna let the rest of the credits roll, not much left, and you can listen to the song without me talking over it. I'll go ahead and let it finish the whole song since it just restarted. And then I'll end the video. So this is Nosgard Silverclaw saying I hope you enjoyed this LP, and I will see you next time.
From the mist of the mountains, a deafening call bellows down over the plains. On a host of battle-worn ears it does fall, pushing out through the thunder and rain. These men of the north, they have suffered too long. The anger, it swells in their veins. Of the spirited roars of lost warriors, songs, distant echoes are all that remain. And my voice is my violence, clear the skies, frozen tears, and no more will be silent with this Sovengarde song in our ears. And we stand tall, sons of the snow, we will not fall under these blows, for our hearts they are hardy, our spirits are strong, and our voices are lifted into this Sovengarde song. These perilous peaks on the rim of the sky, I'm moving in the midst of the clouds drifting by. At the top of